Pick up any leadership book, including mine, and you're always going to find a list of things that successful leaders do. But what a leader chooses not to do is just as important as what a leader chooses to do. So in this video, I want to go over 5 things that successful leaders do not do. Great leaders stand out because they avoid falling into bad habits. They push themselves to be uncomfortable, to improve, and to grow, and to step away from things that most other people usually end up doing. Consider these 5 things that leaders don't do. Number 1 is they don't ignore criticism. Nobody likes to hear negative things about themselves. But successful leaders are willing to take that criticism and feedback as an opportunity to learn and grow, not as an opportunity to get upset and defensive. Weak leaders oftentimes ignore criticism because it damages their egos. It makes them feel like they are not good individuals, they are not good human beings. But great leaders are self-aware and they do not take that criticism personally. They view this feedback, they view this criticism as a chance to better serve those around them and are willing to make changes to improve themselves, their teams, and their company. I want to share with you a quote that I got from the CEO of Tim Ryan, the CEO of PwC in the US. We spoke not that long ago during a conversation, and here's what he had to say. I've seen people hit a ceiling in their career because they couldn't get over the number of critics they had and what those critics were saying about them. The reality is that being able to handle this is a skill, and that is going to become more important. You will never please everybody, but you must always listen to people's views without unraveling, be able to communicate effectively, course correct as needed, and keep moving forward. The second thing that great leaders don't do is they don't let their emotions take control of them. In the high-stakes world of business, it's very easy to allow an emotion to completely take you over. But great leaders don't make rash decisions or blow everything up when something goes wrong. They stay even-keeled, and they know how to regulate their emotions even when things are going wrong. It doesn't mean that these leaders are robots. Of course, they experience emotions just like everybody else, but it's how they channel and how they exhibit those strong emotions that ultimately sets them apart. When I interviewed Hans Vestberg, the CEO of Verizon Communications, he told me the first layer of skills a good leader must have are internal, managing himself or herself as an individual human being, including emotional balance. A lot of leaders are tempted to ignore or de-emphasize this most basic layer, but they do so at their own peril. The third thing that great leaders don't do is they don't avoid responsibility for their choices. Being a leader means that you are going to have to make a decision, and guess what? Not everybody is going to agree with your decision. A great leader is able to stand by their actions, even if they make a mistake. They're able to acknowledge that mistake. They don't pass the blame onto somebody else. They succeed and fail with the rest of their team and with their company. If a leader makes a mistake, if they offend somebody, if they have some unintended consequences of their actions, they stand by it and they take the consequences and they don't run from it. This means that they own their actions and they make amends if they need to, and then they move forward. Mark Feldman, the CEO of GSN, leads by example, and here is what he told me. The question I ask myself every day is, does every person in this organization see that I model in my behavior what I expect of them? Put another way, I hope there's not a person in this organization who thinks there's anything I would ask them to do or has been affected by anything that I don't ask of myself or expect of myself. The next thing that great leaders don't do is they do not break their commitments. Great leaders stand by their word. If they say they're going to do something, if they say they're going to be somewhere, then they do it and they show up when they need to be there. Strong leaders are dependable and reliable. They do not let other people down. Steve Smith, the CEO of Amstead Industries, gave it to me very simply when we spoke. And he told me, you can't fake it. You've got to be transparent, you've got to be candid, you've got to be trustworthy. And the fifth thing that great leaders don't do is they never say never. Great leaders look forward and they constantly consider the big picture. They realize that the world of work is changing and that what might be effective or useful today might not be effective or useful 5 years from now. They don't limit their thinking by saying, we're never gonna try that. That will never work. That's never gonna happen here. Great leaders think big, and they're willing to adapt and evolve to how the world is changing. I love what Michael Kasbar, the CEO of World Fuel Services, told me about this. And he said, for leaders of the future, it's not about picking a single path and sticking to it. It's about exploring many paths at the same time, seeing around many corners to understand the best way forward. So ask yourself, what do your actions say about you? What do you choose not to do? And remember that great leaders make intentional decisions, not just by what they choose to do, but also by what they choose to not do. Thanks for watching. If you want more content just like this, then please remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you want to know what it takes to be a future-ready leader based on interviews that I personally did with 140 of the world's top CEOs, then make sure to go to futureleadercourse.com.